Hello and welcome, coaches of REL Division 6. This is a slightly belated episode of your weekly recap for week 2 of season 8 of the REL League. I am, as ever, your host, Kallisti, the golden apple of Discord. And as I'm sure you've probably noticed already, I'm not sounding as crystal clear and peppy as I usually am. That's probably because I'm actually not feeling so great. I've was all pumped to have this coming into this weekend. My wife was going away for a ladies' weekend at the cottage. So it was going to be me and the kids. Kids are somewhat self-sufficient, so I was envisioning an entire weekend, or as much as possible, spent sort of recording videos, doing fun stuff, playing games like Blood Bowl games, and just generally slobbing around, nerding out, and having a lot of fun, doing a lot of the things that I get to do a little bit on a usual week. I was just gonna max nerd out this weekend. Part of those plans were that I was going to play some games on Friday night, and then Saturday day and Saturday night I was going to I didn't have any games planned, so I was gonna record all my videos, and I have a few to do. So record my videos. I'm also putting together the REL newspaper, so I was going to do that. And then yesterday I woke up and I was feeling like crap. Not feeling good at all. That was yesterday. Still going on today. But yesterday I was running around after kids, trying to stop them from taking advantage of the fact that I wasn't feeling great and eating me out of house and home, destroying the house, breaking things, and just generally causing mayhem. So yeah, I didn't get the videos done yesterday. I need to do it today. I'm going to make every effort to make sure that this is a great episode for you, another great episode for you. But my apologies in advance if I'm not sounding great. I maybe have a little coughing fit every now and then, and generally it's going to be an expedited episode as well. I'm not feeling great. I want to maybe not give you all of the fluff that I would usually want to give you. So it's going to be a sort of a brass tacks, but hopefully lots of fun. And hopefully next week I will be getting back to doing all those little extras for you, giving you extra fluff. I might even have a hype video ready for you. So that'll be good. Anyway, let's get cracking. Let's get into the week 2's action. So if we take a look at the schedule, and you've actually played a few of your games for week 3, but we're not going to get into that today. Looking at week 2, top of the page here, we had Bye Bye Black Sheep losing out to the Ulthuan Sea Serpents, a high elf team. That was obviously an admin win, so that was probably a hard fought match and stuff. But that was an admin win. So Ulthuan Sea Serpents probably did quite well. They got some SPP and got some money, and they lost nothing, so good for them. Then we actually had our first real match. We had Raskin Bobbins versus the Lizard Beasts. Raskin Bobbins walked away with a win there. Raskin Bobbins was in my coverage last season. They were in Division 5F, maybe 5G. And I always say that I'm very impressed with this Nurgle team. And it looks like they're doing more of the same this season. They finished well last season. This season it looks like they're getting off to a good start. They got a nice 1-0 win over the Lizard Beasts. Let's take a quick look at the stats. Maybe that'll give us a bit of a tale of the tape. So Raskin Bobbins had a lot more ball possession. It looks like they played that strategy of getting the ball, taking a half to score, and then managed to get the ball again once the lizard beasts were on their drive. It was only 6%, so maybe they had like a turn of having ball possession, and then after that it was back to being Raskin Bobbins Nurgle team's game. Raskin Bobbins also won in the blocking war. They won in the Kaz war. So 2 KOs versus 2 KOs, but then 2 injuries versus 1 injury. They even won in the yards running war, which for a Nurgle team is kind of ironic. But as I said, they had all the ball possession, so even if they were running their slow 4 squares per turn, if they have the ball for most of the game, then they're going to get the mileage out of it. But it looks like that was a fun, but if not one-sided game. Then we had the Farm Animals in a 2-1 win over Gambler's Gals. I can't remember how I predicted this. Oh, by the way, last week I think I predicted Raskin Bobbins to win this match. The Farm Animals in a 2-1 win over Gambler's Gals. I think I picked Gambler's Gals. Apologies. I know the coach, but I'm not sure how to pronounce the name. Chabaksu or something along those lines. Let me just... this is the easy way of doing it, so let's have a look. Chabsu. I think that might be a good attempt at a pronunciation of the coach name. So I think I backed the Amazon team in last week's episode in my predictions. Maybe I shouldn't do that again, because this Chaos team is now coming into its own. It's doing really well. I think this is the 2nd win in a row for the Farm Animals. We'll have a look at the leaderboard in a minute. We could do this actually. Yep, they're now 2-0, so that's good for them. Let's have a look at the stats. Let's see if that tells us anything. So 62% ball possession versus 25. We had a huge number of blocks made by the Chaos team. A huge number succeeded. 72 blocks succeeded. That's insane. 3 KOs. The Gambler's Gals, though, they got only 1 KO, but they got to get 1 injury. They won the 1 injury of the game. 96 yards running for the Chaos team, which matches their ball possession, versus 48 for the Gambler's Gals. It looked like they got the win, but it was just by virtue of playing the 2-1 grind well. Okay, so now we're moving on to... So now we move on to the next match, which was Maximum Ogre Kill versus... it's a bye-week team. Okay, so Maximum Ogre Kill got that win. Mutants in Human Clothing, Spoony Bard's Underworld team, got a bye-week win as well. You poor guys with your bye-week wins. It's great for being able to build up your teams and replenish and all of that, but it does suck that you don't have games to play this week. So our apologies for that. We make every effort to make sure that the divisions for returning teams at least don't have bye weeks, and unfortunately we had some dropouts and then we weren't able to reshuffle. So hopefully we'll find a way to not have this three bye-week teams in this division at some point. But right now there are those 3 bye-week games. Anyway, moving on, we had the Rottingham Rockers versus You Worship Chaos, and You Worship Chaos came out the winner on that front. So this was Nurgle versus Chaos. Gazgul versus, I think the coach is Spirit Crusher or something along those lines. Where are we? Yep, Spirit Crusher. Wow, I'm impressed with my memory considering I'm sick. Okay, anyway, back to giving you the news, the stats, the recaps. So the You Worship Chaos managed to get out the... Oh, and they're not a Chaos team. They're a Norse team. There we go. So I was wrong on that front. You Worship Chaos, the Norse team, managed to get a win over the Rottingham Rockers. And let's have a look at the stats for that one. We had 56% ball possession for the You Worship Chaos. Only 37 for the Rottingham Rockers. That kind of ties in nicely with the style of the teams. Although it does suggest that Gazgul played this one quite well and maybe even got a turnover, but managed to steal possession of the ball. But maybe he started with the ball in one half, like the first half, managed to keep the ball, score at the end of that first half, and then in the second half, just played the game well and managed to get the win. We also have the Norse team getting the higher amount of blocks, although not the higher amount of injuries and kills. That honour firmly belongs to the Rottingham Rockers, with 4 injuries and 2 kills, which is pretty impressive, versus just the 2 injuries from You Worship Chaos. The Rottingham Rockers might not be happy with the loss, but I'm sure they're going to be happy with those injuries and kills. Not only do you get SPP, but you're getting yourself a bit of a reputation as being someone to be wary of if you're going up against your team, so that's good. And on a side note, I actually really like the naming for the Rottingham Rockers. I actually really like it. It's fun to see work out who all of the players are, which famous rockers or musicians they are. We've got Janis Joplin in there, I remember, and a few other good ones. There was only 1 or 2 members of the team that I didn't know who their real life rock or musician counterpart was, so that's good. We're actually on day 2, aren't we? Yep. And then we had Ars Gotia in a 1-0 win over the Fogmire Fen Beasts. So that's Chaos team and versus the Fogmire Fen Beasts. I actually watched this game, although it was a while ago, beginning of the week. But yeah, I did watch this game, and it was a fun game. I'm just trying to remember what happened. I think there was just general domination by the Chaos team. We actually had 3 injuries inflicted, and the 5 KOs versus the Fogmire Fenbeast, who just weren't able to make anything stick. They did have a higher amount of blocks, but those blocks weren't amounting to much. Whereas Ars Gotia had a slightly easier target in the Skinks, and then we're just making things stick on the Lizardman team. It's always going to be, depending on where both teams are in development, it's always going to be either a great matchup or a very tilted matchup one way or the other when you have Chaos teams versus Lizardmen. It's an interesting matchup because earlier on, obviously, the Lizardmen have the advantage, and then once those Chaos teams that have access to mutations get Claw as an option, suddenly a lot of the strength that the Lizardmen teams have is negated, and then suddenly you're looking at a team that has very fragile players that are mobile but very weak, versus stronger players but have just as strong armor, and I don't know, it kind of really makes a mess of the strengths of the Lizardman team when they go up against developed chaos or teams with developed teams with access to mutations. Okay, so looking ahead to week 3, I think that was all of the games. Yep. Looking ahead to week 3, I think you've actually all played your games. Let's have a look. Yep, we still have bye weeks. So we still have the Rottingham Rockers versus the Lizard Beasts. I'm going to call this one for the Rottingham Rockers. That's more of a personal... I'm kind of in part rooting for this team. I'm still obviously very impartial, but yeah, I've got a feeling that this Nurgle team is going to do well, and I think they're going to have the edge over the Lizardmen team. We'll look at the results for week 3 when I get back, or next week's episode. So let's have a look at the leaderboard. This is going to be incredibly tilted because of the fact that most of you have played your week 3 games, and those of you that haven't well, there's actually 3 of you that haven't, that are just because they're bye week games. So we have Mutants in Human Clothing at 3 wins. We have Raskin Bobbins at 3 wins. We have the Eltham Sea Serpents coming in. But they've played 3 games. They've won 2. Same level of points, but without the extra game played. So they could very much change the order here. Are the Ars Goetia and the Farm Animals, the 2 Chaos teams. The Rottingham Rockers currently have a game to play this week, but they're also sitting on 1 win, 1 loss, as are You Worship Chaos, as are the Lizard Beasts, and they still have a game left to play, so they're up there on the 2 wins, 1 loss, or it could go another way. Then we have the next bracket. We have the Fogmire Fen Beasts and Maximum Overkill, who have played that 3rd game, and it unfortunately didn't go quite the way they wanted to. So they are on 1 win and 2 losses. We have Gambas Gals, who are just on 3 losses. They haven't won a game yet. Then we've got the various bye weeks teams. Yeah, that's it. That's the division. So still very early days, and anything can change. But we're seeing a few teams that are just pulling ahead of the pack, and some of these aren't a surprise. Some of them, they're doing well. They're doing really well. I personally, because I was following them last season, I'm not so super surprised to see Raskin Bobbins coming up towards the top of the table. Mutants in Human Clothing, the Underworld team, coached by Spoony Bard. I've been hearing and seeing, to a certain extent, sort of very sick things about this team. It's an Underworld team, and when you take a look at them, or if you're matched up against them, you suddenly start to think, oh, hang on a second. This unfamiliar feeling I'm feeling of fear is not something I'd associate with Underworld, but it's something that I'm feeling, because they are a scary team. The Elfin Sea Serpents doing well, as are Ars Goetia and the Farm Animals. I fully predict now that I've had a few weeks for them to show me up in my predictions. I'm starting to sort of pitch my flag behind Ars Goetia and the Farm Animals. They're doing well. They've won both their games. They've still got a game. They've got bye weeks to play this week, so they're going to win those 2. But yep, they're definitely showing me, and I'm not going to be surprised now when I see them winning games and hitting the top of the leaderboard. Rottingham Rockers are doing okay, as are You Worship Chaos and the Lizard Beasts. They're all sitting on a win and a loss. But from the Rottingham Rockers down, it's all sort of middling performances until you get to that last team now, Gamba's Gals, coached by Gamba, who have those 3 losses. But other than that, you've got like a good chunk of teams that they're at the bottom of the table, but their record is actually pretty good. 1 win, 1 loss, and there's so many of them. 1 win, 2 losses. This is in no way a bad thing. Would it be good to have week 3 have 2 wins and 1 loss? Of course it would, but there's nothing to be despondent about here, especially when so many of you are on the same record, and things could change in an instant. Right, so let's take a quick look. My voice is failing me, so this is going to be a very quick look at 2 teams. So last week, I believe my sort of process is that I'm just going to look at them in order. So I did Lizard Beasts and You Worship Chaos. So this week, I'm going to take a look at Ars Goetia and Falkmire Fen Beasts. So Ars Goetia, coached by Zizeta. This is a nice Chaos team. Not as developed as I thought it would be, apart from the one player who is obviously the man, the GOAT on this team. So we have Barbatos, and we have Baal and Baleth and Gisson. Who are your 4 Chaos Warriors. 3 of them have block, 1 of them has blodge, 1 has guard, and then we have Baleth, who stands alone as the killer Chaos Warrior with Mighty Blow and Claw. So there's no one's under any illusions with this guy. He hasn't gone block. He's just, as soon as he can, he's going for Mighty Blow. He's going for Claw. He's the guy's killer. He's this team's killer, along with Ipos, which we'll get to in a second. But yeah, so if you're looking to neutralize the sting of this team, and you're looking to pick on a Chaos Warrior, I would probably go for Baleth. The other guys are more stable. They're more going to help Zizeta win in the long run. But if you are worried about that killer piece, then you're not going to have to look long and hard to wonder who it is on this team, or which 2 pieces on this team are the killers. And because they are developed to be killer pieces, there isn't as much thought given to preservation. So they should be easier than the other pieces to take out. Anyway, moving on, we have Ipos, who is at 67 of 76 SPP. This is just after a season, so doing a lot of really sterling work and killing, I would imagine, with this piece. Mighty Blow, Claw, piling on, so it's the Holy Trinity, and now as an afterthought block. Gives you a good insight into the thinking here. This is no mucking around. We want to kill, and immense glass cannon piece. Anyway, moving on, we've got Floros, Vaul, Chimaris, Astaroth, an injured Phoenix, Belial, and Realm. So of those, rest of those beastmen, we have one that's a agility sure hands piece, so that's your ball carrier. We have another 2 that have gone for guard, which is good. It's a nice solid choice. And then we have one that's gone for tackle. This is the single tackle piece. So if I'm lizard men, or I'm elves, or something that has a fair amount of dodge in my team, that's another target I'm going to be singling out. Again, doesn't have block, doesn't have dodge, doesn't have wrestle, so should be relatively easy to take out if you can get to it. And I'm pretty sure that all these players that I've singled out, Zizeta is going to be making sure that they're nice and protected. So it's not going to be easy to get to them, but yeah, those would be the pieces that I would single out because they're easier to take out and because they pose an imminent and clear danger to your teams. Well, the tackle one does if you have a lot of dodge. Okie dokie. And then The Fogmire Fen Beasts, one of the Lizardmen teams, coached by Rolling Reds, and we have nice. Well, different anyway. We have. Oh, is this the one that's? No, this isn't the one. Well, there's a bit of in-game generic names for this team. Okay, so we have Puak Pack with Mighty Blow and Block. We have Chrometha with Guard. That's nice. We have Thulek, which is the piece I was reacting to, who is Blodge with an AV up. So now this is AV10. My personal take, and I think a take of a lot of coaches, is that there is a very strong diminishing rate of returns on AV once you get past 9. Difference between AV 9 and 10 isn't as great as difference between AV 7 and 8, or AV 6 and 7. If you're at AV7 and you have the chance to get AV8, it may not be where your focus is. Like, I'm thinking, like, usually teams that are AV7 are like elves and rats. So they get a choice between an AV up and a movement up. They're going to go for the movement up, and that's the obvious choice for them. Your more bashy teams, they're usually AV9 and then, or AV8 or 9. Moving up to AV8 to AV9 is good, can be good. I see a justification for it. Put it that way. Moving up from AV9 to AV10, it is, as I said, it's a diminishing rate of return. So I would probably be inclined not to take that. But this is also meant to be one of your safe pieces because it's got Blodge. So not only is this guy going to be harder to take down, but when you do take him down, he's going to be that little bit harder to take out. We have Tredge, another Dodgesaurus. We have Snickers of the Snack, I like that name, with Block, Mighty Blow and Frenzy. We have Puff with Block, Mighty Blow, Tackle and Frenzy. So very similar development paths. And these are going to be the guys that are going to go out there and take pieces out. And what's the betting that Snicker of the Snack is going to end up with Tackle as well. Push Roll towards Mordor is out for the next match, but he has Block. Then we have the Skinks, which don't have a huge amount of development, which is fine for Skinks. I'd want my development all on the Saurus anyway. But we have one with sidestep. We have 1-2 with diving tackle. One of those has sidestep and jump up. That's a nice piece. With the diving tackle and then the jump up, that's nice. That's a nice synergy there. And then we have one that's sneaky git. So you can foul, and as soon as he starts getting like any kind of injury, there's possibility he'll be sent off. But other than that, if he fouls and he rolls a doubles, but it doesn't break armor, then he's not going to get sent off. So that's an interesting skill. I'm not sure how useful it's going to be for him. Maybe I'll ask him towards the end of the season whether or not it was a good choice. Diving tackle I like on the Skinks. Generally, I like this team. There are a few choices that I'm not sure about. Well, there's one, which is the AV up. But hey, if he's like the last original member of this team standing in 3 or 4 seasons' time, and he's gone on to do great things, then Rolling Red can send me a shout saying, yeah, you talked about this guy in season 8. Look at him now, he's legend and he's done amazing things, and I was right and you were wrong, which is fine. Cool, looking forward to it. I like the blitzing pieces you have with the Frenzy. Although it is very generic and it's going to go the same way, just looks like you're just copying a template. I would actually go with tackle on Snicker of the Snack when Snicker of the Snack levels, and I wouldn't go with piling on, which is probably an odd suggestion, but I just wouldn't go with it. I think it's much better to have these pieces upright, and if they manage to get a casualty, great, but not pile on for it and leave them more mobile. Maybe break tackle might be nice next. So then you can kind of quasi avoid being tied down by being marked with these players, and then I really allow them to free roam and go and bash, more choice targets. But yeah, generally I like the development on this team, and that pretty much covers it. So next week I am going to, hopefully, I hope so, I'm not going to be sick anymore and be able to give you sort of what I started like the previous 2 weeks, which is sort of more sort of news and events and just more talking points. Give you all of the usual stuff, going over the matches, giving predictions and blah blah. Might even have a hype video to share with you next week, and just a few other bits and bobs. This show is evolving. If you have any suggestions of things you'd like to see, things you like what I'm doing and like me to do more of, or the reverse, things that you can't stand or things you think I could improve, please let me know. I've got thick skin, so you can be as cruel and give me as much cruel and unusual punishment as you want. I'll take it all on board, so I'll process it, I'll listen to it, but I'm not going to cry if it's bad feedback. But yeah, send it on in to me. Tell me what you like, tell me what you don't like, and I will have a great week, and I will see you next week. Have a good one, guys.